Well, according to much of the online discourse from yesterday, Google's new Gemini AI has officially joined HAL 9000, Skynet, and that evil wheel from WALL-E in the pantheon of artificial intelligence run amok. Conservative commentators, but not just conservative commentators, were blasting Google over what they described as intentional anti-white bias in its new AI generative engine Gemini. Several images of users asking the engine to create images of people from traditionally white nationalities and backgrounds, such as French or Swedish or English, would produce images of black, brown, Asian, etc. people instead. But the reverse was not true. On the other hand, asking for images from minority cultures did not cause the AI to diversify those by adding in white people. Additionally, requests for images of specifically white people would be met with a warning from the AI not to push, quote, divisive rhetoric, while no such warning appeared again in the other direction. Now, Google appears to have agreed that this was a problem, issuing a statement to Fox Digital and some other places saying they were aware of these concerns and working to fix it. Gemini Experience's Senior Director of Product Management, Jack Krajic, addressed the responses from the AI that had led to these social media users expressing concern. He said, "We are working to improve these kinds of depictions immediately. Gemini's AI image generation does generate a wide range of people, and that's generally a good thing because people around the world use it, but it's missing the mark here." Later posts purported to show the process Gemini was taking to create the disconnect between a user prompt and the end result. One user who tried to get a picture of a leprechaun had tags like diverse, inclusive, black, South Asian, female, or non-binary added automatically on the back channel without any such user input. The AI would then use the modified prompt to create the images. As of now, Google has said it's pausing use of the Gemini AI engine as it retools the program. So I don't know if you checked Twitter X yesterday, but it was filled with these examples of people generating pictures. I played around with it a little bit. And I think, look, the issue for me is not that it creates implausible or historically inaccurate, when you said, you know, make
an historically inaccurate leprechauns?
But when you asked for, like, French king, it gave you female portrayals and portrayals of people from all over the world, whatever. But then when you did it on, like, in the other direction, when you asked it for, like Egyptian pharaoh or Arab sultan or something, it showed you entirely accurate and did not diversify it any further.
What's the entirely accurate race of an Egyptian pharaoh?
African.
It seems like there were a lot of different races in ancient Egypt, is kind of the point.
It showed you historically representative.
So a diverse array of people, as it did in any context. I'm confused as to what the qualm.
What is confusing?
All of it, to be honest. I'm trying to find the root of the concern. It seems like they're making a new technology. They've defaulted to every result being diverse, so that there's
no. They didn't. They did not default to every result being diverse. They defaulted to results that would be predominantly, by and large, white identities. Well, that's why I'm asking
about the Egyptian example, because ancient Egypt, situated geographically where it was, had rulers of all different complexions.
Okay, what about Arab sultan or?
Well, I don't know. You're the one that played with
Japanese
it. You brought up the ancient Egypt example.
Or Aztec emperor, or all of those.
Well, what about
things.
them? Tell me what happens.
What you got is a stereotypical image of that thing in most of those cases. Again, it was not every single time how you played with it.
I understand it now, Robby. This is a catastrophe, and I'm so glad.
It's a catastrophe. It's just hilarious.
What can I say? Okay, it's hilarious, and I hope that the good people at the AI generator get right on it. It sounds from that Fox News quote that we read that they're all over it, and they're going to fix this problem as soon as possible, because I think it really is really bad to not be accurately representing European leaders the way that they should be represented. I know that there's a whole historical trajectory of European leaders and historical figures not being accurately identified as white, and we wouldn't want the public to be broadly deceived by that. And so I'm so glad that these AI generators are really getting quickly to the root of that problem. You asked if I had seen this on my timeline. No, I hadn't. My timeline is largely occupied by pictures of limbless Palestinians, but also in the AI realm, there was this story about AI being used to have pornographic images of a podcast host, Bobby Altroff, that were trending either yesterday or the day before. that apparently were completely AI generated. And it was all over the timeline. Her name was trending. And so this is another one of those stories like the Taylor Swift story that we discussed, where there do seem to be some really significant privacy interests being violated here by software that can be used to put any famous person in any kind of unbecoming situation. And frankly, I only found out about 24 hours later that those images weren't real. And the implication that a lot of people are running around thinking that someone has put out a porn video or that they've seen them in this compromising situation does seem to be a real significant issue.
Well, the law is going to have to be updated to reflect these technological changes. Obviously, as I said when we talked about this earlier, I'm very cautious to create a new category of like impermissible content. I mean, if you're misrepresenting yourself as someone else, I think that's falling under like kind of fraud categories. But if it's clearly labeled parody, I mean, it's
not clearly labeled parody.
It's not.
It's labeled Bobby What's-Her-Face does a porn, and then it's all over the internet.
And it's plausible.
It looks real to me.
Oh, I didn't look. I don't know.
So that's I think a really significant issue. If you can't kind of fathom extending sympathy to a random podcaster who I don't even particularly care for, but she has rights and she's a human being, then imagine what if someone found a picture of your mother or your wife or your sister or your brother and made pornography with them. That is what keeps happening.
What if that's disgusting and gross, and we should shame whoever does that? I mean, what if somebody drew or painted that situation? It would be clearly
a drawing.
Speech.
It would be a painting.
Is this different? I mean, that's what we're going to find out. It's maybe it is. I don't know that it is. I don't know that it's fundamentally different, but.
You don't think it's, you don't know that
I'm still thinking about it.
I think that you know that it's fundamentally different. You know that it's fundamentally different. Your question isn't whether it's fundamentally different. It is obviously fundamentally different to take a medium that is known for having the imprimatur of truth. It is there's a word for this. It creates a kind of an imprint of reality. It is a photograph or like a plaster cast or like it's an imprint of something that really happened, as opposed to a obvious art object, which is inherently representational and processed.
Inherently representational? That seems highly subjective to me.
That art isn't a photograph? That art is more like a drawn image is more subjective than a photographed image?
No, that it's different than the AI generated images, that those are not art.
I'm not arguing that they're not art. I'm arguing whether drawn images have a different implication and a different subtext than a photographed image, or even a plaster cast. Something that is clearly an imprint of something that really existed in the world. And saying that if you can take technology that looks like it's video, that looks like it's photographed, and doctor it in a way, because photographs we are used to them being more mutable even than video. But to have the average person, not someone who has a Hollywood studio behind them to do special effects, but for the average person to use software on their computer that can make a realistic looking video of someone you loved in a sexual situation, doing a crime, a politician saying things that they never said, that can go viral long before there's any pushback. And we all know that lies go around the world twice before truth gets out the door.
Well, again, maybe this falls under fraud. Maybe you couldn't claim, you couldn't write or if you did, if you wrote in a newspaper, Joe Biden said, all hail Osama bin Laden or something, and then, he could sue me, or because if it falls into that category, it might absolutely be speech that shouldn't be allowed. I'm frankly excited about this technology, and I think it could be used for good, creative purposes, for not for making deep fake, realistic porn of people or libeling people. But that it's an exciting technology. That obviously some kinks need to be worked out, as we saw yesterday with Gemini. But I'm hesitant to. I think the government could easily propose some sweeping new law that forbids the whole thing, and it would be cutting off our nose to spite our face.
Forbids what whole thing?
AI technology.
So the idea that the use of AI should be limited in some ways makes you jump to, well, those are the two options. We have to ban AI altogether, or else we have to allow people to make pornographic images of your sister.
That seems
Can we
like
contemplate that there might be some middle ground? Okay.
But all I'm hearing is, oh no, I mean, I'm thinking of the discourse around the chat GBT stuff that was like, oh no, it can tell you how to plan a school shooting or something. Well, you give it very specific prompts that fed it into that. There was a lot of dramatic, almost fainting couch, think of the children kind of discourse going on with that, and I'm hearing a lot of
not fainting couch discourse about AI. Like the kind we led this segment with. Oh my God, they're making the Queen's brown.
I didn't say it was okay. You try it out. It was really hard to get it to make an image of a white person at all.
Oh my God,
it's kind of funny because of diversity DEI rationale that they baked into this algorithm.
It's horrible.
It erased white people entirely. And if you don't think that's funny, I don't know what to say.
This is great replacement on a scale that I've never even seen before. And someone's got to get on this. And look, it seems like they're all over it. They're going to fix this problem faster than they'll fix mass incarceration. So we can all rest assured that in a couple of weeks, this problem will not exist, and America will still have 25% of the world's prison population.
I think it was okay to laugh at this and say it's kind of dumb as they concede, and they're going to work on it.
Amen to that, brother. The priorities are aligned, and we will get to the bottom of this ASAP.
All right, that does it for us today, blessedly. Tomorrow on Rising, Briahna and I will be taking a mental health day, as we do every Friday, and you will be instead treated to the commentary of Amber Duke and Jessica Burbank.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And those of you who like to listen while on the go can find us wherever you listen to podcasts.
Bye-bye.
Take care.